Hi everybody, my name is Robert Dukes and I'm here with Chris Gordon from Hellblazer Biz.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, listeners and viewers wherever you are in the world right now. You are tuned into Hellblazer Biz with your one and only host, as always, me, Chris Gordon. You're stuck with that, sorry. Thank you all for tuning in, appreciate it as always. Everybody who's tuning in for the first time, thank you. Hope you enjoy what you're going to see or listen to. And for those of you who are returning, wow, you came back, way! Anyway, I appreciate everyone's support as always, thank you so much. Before I go into the interview, as I say, just find me on Twitter at HellblazerBeers, same for Instagram. Search HellblazerBeers on Facebook, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Buzzsprout, Spreaker, Google Play and Heart Radio, and you'll find me. Hey, and you can subscribe, and please subscribe, and please rate me on whatever social media you can. Thank you. Today's guest I bring you is absolutely fantastic. I have spoken to him before, but something went wrong on my side. Less said that about the better, but this guy is actually a fantastic part of a multi award-winning film, The Code, as well as many others. A fantastic guy. Brilliant laugh, and we could have just talked all night. So without further ado, I introduce to you Mr. Rob Dukes. Hey everyone, I'm here with Robert Dukes, who is one of the stars of The Code by Little Glass Films, Patrick Ryder. Multi award-winning film at the moment.
Yeah.
So, hi Rob again, nice to talk to you again, obviously.
You too, mate.
Yep.
You too.
It's sadly the first time we did this. There was a background noise in Leicester Square thanks to my poor choice of microphone.
It will be good this time, we'll be good.
It will be. They weren't even a very good street performance, to be fair, either, because it was just like cats.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining, whether it was the right kind of entertaining, who knows?
Yeah. Never mind. But yeah, we're here, we're back, and obviously, chat about The Code. Now, it's actually, which is better than last time, because we have both seen it. You've seen the final product, because
I have.
When you're filming in post-production, you only ever kind of see certain bits of it as it goes through, so...
Yeah.
And I've seen it.
Lots of stills in the trailer. I think that's all I've seen of that point. Stills in the trailer. So asking questions about what the film was like was kind of null and void. Now we can talk about it openly because
we can. Yeah, it's out there. It's out there for everyone to see, and it is a great film. But I've seen it more times than you now. I've seen it twice.
Yep.
I think the first time was at the Out the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, in Derby?
Yeah, the one in Derby. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was there because Patrick and Kev were up there as well. So they went up there, and then obviously at the one in Mile End the other week. The cinema, yeah. It was, which was an amazing cinema, wasn't it? It's huge.
I went there, I took I may have lied a little bit. I've seen it a couple of times myself as well, because I took the film to Genesis to check it out.
Oh, right, okay.
And when I walked into the cinema, I kind of did that kind of classic, like walking into the cathedral face, because there's 560 seats in that screen, and we filled half of it. Like it was incredible. Like the turnout for that screening was insane. I had no idea we'd get that many people to come and see the movie. But it was an amazing day.
It really was. It was, and like you say, the cinema was just amazing. I mean, I walked in because I was looking at it, and thanks to Patrick, who turned around 5 minutes before I was due to go on and said, "By the way, we've sold like nearly 270 odd tickets." I was like, "Oh, it's like."
Come again?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, okay, biggest audience that I've ever done that to. But yeah, walking in there, Hotel Transylvania 3 was just finishing. So it's like, there's your film coming on into a film, which is the Hollywood blockbuster film is showing, and then the code's coming in the same screen in the same cinema. So yeah, that's a tremendous feat and a tremendous thing to see.
Yeah, it's what someone said to me afterwards, like, what was it like seeing your face on the big screen? And I can't quite put it into words. Like, you kind of just you're not really watching yourself. You're watching the movie as a whole, like everyone else is, and you're watching it for the whole experience of going to the cinema and watching a movie.
Yeah.
But it's retrospectively that you kind of go, wait a minute, my face was on that massive screen. Oh my god! Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was fantastic, and I had lots of friends and family there as well, and obviously the big reunion for the cast and crew, which was amazing because I hadn't seen over half of them since we've wrapped in February. So
yeah, well, Kerry's up in Scotland anyway, isn't she? So she's always busy up there. So yeah, it was nice.
Newcastle as well. So
yeah, oh yeah, exactly. So it was nice to see you all get together because obviously I've spoken to pretty much all of you.
Yeah, one time or another.
Yeah, one time or another. Or on Facebook, I keep getting these friend requests, and it's like, oh right, I know you are.
Yeah. So what mutual friends do we have? Is it through Pat? Yes, it's through Patrick.
Yeah. I've got to tell you, I've not stopped since that event, to be fair. Having friend requests, I think I had about 130 since that night.
Wow.
Yeah, because obviously they've added, people who met me there have added me, and then again, it's the network of like mutual friends. Oh, there's someone, and it's just gone and got. There's been a few spam ones.
That's part of the magic of what we do in this industry, is that we can kind of all link together and support one another, go along to each other's events, and hopefully at some point work together and then form friendships and stuff. And that's part of the joy for me, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I sing to whoever I talk to. I always say I love the British film circuit for that, because it is a family. And there's, even me on the outskirts here doing this, it's like I'm still being welcomed in, and whenever I go there, I'm made to feel so welcome by everybody, and it's a great feeling, and it does. Then the network goes around, they go to another event, and then more people have heard from you, and for me it's great because I can get more guests like you guys on, and like we've talked about before, which I'm not going to say on air because I don't want it stolen. It's the inspiration, and it pushes other people to maybe get inspired to do things and that they would never have done or never have thought of before as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it is fantastic. I've got a cough, so I'll keep muting myself. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so it's just it's a fantastic atmosphere, and I think it's probably quite unique as well, in the sense that there is obviously acting is a very tight-knit organisation, tight-knit industry, not organisation, industry. But yeah, there's definitely something special about the British independent circuit, I think, and that's the friendliness and the familiarity of it all. Yeah,
and I think I heard someone say once as well that the bigger the film, the less familiar it is, and I get that because obviously the fact is that these films get bigger and bigger and bigger. You've got Unit 1, Unit 2, B camera, A camera, and like you're working on a project for 6-7 weeks, and people come and go. And whereas if it's a little indie film, everyone's in it together, and everyone kind of does other jobs, not just their own. You might be someone who's wardrobe, but they also work as part of the choreography as well, which is what we had on the code. Like Karan, friend of mine, she did the dresses for the girls, but on the day she also did some choreography for the supporting artist as well. So and everyone gets mucked in, and it's fantastic. It's really wholesome.
It is. I mean, I've said that a few times. I'm talking to you guys where you see these Hollywood actors and stuff, and they come in, like you say, for a couple of weeks, but it's gone, and that's it. There's no. The passion's there because they wouldn't be doing what they're doing without a bit of passion. But I think in a big blockbuster like that, as much as everyone we'd all probably love to be in a blockbuster like that, without doubt, I think there is just it's just not the same because of the amount of people working on it, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, but also there's less time. Like it's weird because indie films obviously we have less time to make them, but in a way, I think there's less time to make the big blockbuster movie because you've got other people kind of going, yeah, we've only got this amount of money. We've got all these people coming in, so we can't overrun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, hopefully one day I'll find out. But I just think the family feel for indie movies is amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lovely couple in America, Lynn Delaney. and Roberto Gomez. Forgive me if I've got that name wrong, Roberto. Not Roberto, Ruben. Sorry, Ruben and Lynn, and they're husband and wife, and they've been obviously married for like 30 or 40 years, if not longer. And they've just made a film together, and they said the same thing. Their friends were all on set, and you had like the lead actors then moving furniture around because their budget was so tight as well. They were then, like you say, in between, like you said, your friend on the code as well. Like they were doing multiple things, and when one scene finished, it was like, let's shift all the furniture around and get the set changed and pack it all up at the end of the day. So it is, it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, so I'm going to take you right back. Well, not right back because you're not that old.
Who knows? I might be older than I look.
Well, yeah, very true, very true. You just play certain age. Well, I'll say I was great because when I did wrestling 3 years ago, I was at age 38 when I took up wrestling, and I was twice the age of everyone there. And they turned round after 7 or 8 months, and they all thought I was literally 26 or 27. And I was like nearly, at the time, I was just turned 40. Well, just turned 40 at the time because I'd been there 2 years, and that's when they all turned around and go, "My God, I only thought you were 27." So I was like, "Yes." That's when, yeah, exactly. That was when I looked healthier. The grey hairs were less. Cool. So yeah, how did you get into it then? What made you decide that this is the profession, this is the passion that you wanted to follow?
Oh, well, actually, funny you should say that. There's a poster behind me.
Yeah.
One of the reasons it's on the wall is that I remember being a kid and seeing Star Wars for the first time and just being like, I want to do that. I want to do these, like tell these stories in fantastical worlds, and then certainly at that age it was things that were otherworldly and adventure and Indiana Jones and Star Wars and E.T. and then I saw Disney movies as well and like the voice acting in that, and I was just like, I want to be in that world. I want to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, me and my brother had lightsabers and we'd have lightsaber fights in the garden and stuff. But,
yeah.
And it wasn't the fact that we were those characters, we were those people, and we had. I was massive keen and brought up on westerns as well. So and it was just fantastical elements, and then it grew from there into like drama and more kitchen sink stuff, and then it swirled right back around again when Lord of the Rings came out and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, that's where it came from for me. Was watching Star Wars for the first time.
Oh, right, that's fantastic. I'm showing my age again because you said you and your brother were playing with lightsabers and stuff in the garden. They didn't have toys like lightsabers for me when I was a kid. We had to play broomsticks.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
Yeah.
Had scars to prove it.
I've still got some of the original Star Wars toys because I think I was 2 years old when my parents took me to see Star Wars. I can't remember that. I can remember Empire Strikes Back, going to see that one in the cinema in 1983. Just vaguely with my dad. But yeah, I've still got a couple of the little figures left.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. My cousins had the Giant Millennium Falcon, the Rancor.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a Y-Wing as well, and then the little figures too. So, yeah, they all ended up getting broken because they were played with. They were loved toys. They weren't kept in blister packs.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's the same with mine. It's like, you see all these people saying how much they're worth, the original ones and things like that. And it's like, well, I was like 7 or 8 years old. I ripped the damn thing open and played with it. And even now,
that's what it was for. That's what it was made for. It wasn't made for keeping in a little packet. It was made to have fun, allowing children to kind of let their imaginations go. I say children, anybody, like children and adults alike. Let everyone let their imaginations run wild, and I think that's why it did so well.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. I mean, now there's a company called Hot Toys bring out one. I'd collect 1/6 scale, so about 12-inch high, size of the old, and they bring some really detailed ones out of them. So I've got a few of those from Star Wars. But again, people keep them in the boxes, and I'm like, why? They've got batteries, they've got light-up lightsabers. You can pose them like that, and it's like they look amazing. Kylo Ren standing there, and it's like that's supposed to.
That's a good moment when he stops the blast.
Oh yeah. So I've got a 12-inch figure of him posed. I posed him like that with his hand out, and it does look good. But they're supposed to be open. That's what childhoods are for.
Exactly.
And my son's playing with them now. I think he's not playing with them because they're expensive, but he's
you can play with certain ones, not others.
Yeah, he's got a huge TIE fighter because they brought 6-inch figures out for the kids and stuff. Obviously, so they brought a TIE fighter, and it's literally, I think it's almost 2.5 foot wide and about nearly 2.5 foot high because it's a proper scale. to a 6-inch figure, and it's amazing. And it's just, it's
running around the house holding this thing going,
yeah. Well, it's most likely sat on the shelf because I put it on the shelf, so do not break that. So yeah, that's
toys, Star Wars toys.
Yeah, but it's a good inspiration. I mean, the likes of, like you said, E.T. and Star Wars. Spielberg. I think Spielberg played a hell of a big influence in a lot of people's lives to get into the either filmmaking or the acting side of things as well, because just a genius director. And it's
happened for me. I'm very lucky. Like, I still feel like a kid. I think a lot of actors do as well. And there's so many movies that I just sit and I'm just completely blown away by, completely moved by, different reasons. And I remember I went to the cinema to see this on my own, actually, because I was working nights at the time and everyone had already seen this movie, and I thought, no, I've got to see it in the cinema because everyone's raving about it. It was Gravity.
Okay,
yeah. Completely blown away by the opening shot when you get that silent, like deafening silence, and then there's that, and that for me that kind of made me feel like that kind of grain of sand in the universe. That feeling was just indescribable, and I'm very lucky. I get that from lots of movies. I got that from Lord of the Rings. I got that from Drive, for crying out loud. Like it's just movies are my passion. So it's wonderful that I get to work in it as well. Yeah, exactly, and that's why I really envy you for doing that, because it's like that's what my passion. I love watching movies. Lord of the Rings was amazing. I had a great chat with Katrina Gray the other week, and she said her dream is to be an elf. And she even did when she pulled her hair down. She goes, she doesn't even need prosthetic ears because she said her ears poke out her hair, and it was great. Wow.
So I was like, there you go. They're making a Hobbit. They're making it, aren't you? Amazon are making a TV show.
Amazon? Yeah. The most expensive TV show ever made, apparently.
Exactly. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
See how they play that one. But no, you're right.
If I get an audition, all right?
yeah, please do. I'll come to set there. I should, but by the time that comes out, hopefully touch wood, I'll actually have a bigger name as well. So, you remember me then. So this is great, because that's the good thing about the indie circuit, like I mentioned before, is the fact that we all remember everyone remembers each other, and everyone supports each other, and no matter what part of the industry, that's support, and that's what I love as well, because
it's so important.
Yeah,
so important because there are. I mean, look at Patrick and Kevin recently. They won those awards at IRA Film Festival, which is just stupendous. I'm incredibly proud and incredibly happy for both of them. And it just goes to show that when you can kind of when you've got this support and love from all the other fans and other filmmakers and actors and producers and stuff, that we do get behind one another, and that's the result. Patrick against Christopher Nolan, and John Boyega and Tom Holland, for crying out loud. So, and it warms my heart. I think it's fantastic. I really do. Yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, I was gobsmacked when they were, when it was finalists with the likes of Chris Nolan and that, and then all of a sudden to beat them, I was just like, wow. That really is, and it's all credit to you guys as well, because obviously the film is for things like the code as well, so it's everybody contributed to that. So those guys are the ones who got the awards, but again, and that's what I look, they're so humble, those two as well. They're some of the loveliest guys as well, and they are, well, I think they are very humble, and they'll share all that out, and they're constantly doing the same kind of thing and trying to boost everyone else up, despite the fact that they've got these awards. If I'd got it, to be fair, because I'd try to be humble. I'm probably I don't know how I'd react if I got something like that. I'd be like, putting you back down to earth. Come on,
Chris, exactly. Yeah, head would be too big to get out of the door. But no, and that's just proof of what kind of people, genuine people, and how genuine people are in this sort of close knit industry, and it has to be that way, I think, and to joint mutual support.
Yeah.
So, kind of, if speaking about that films, then, with the film buff that you are, who would you love to work with as a director?
As a director, ooh,
You've already won. You've worked with one who's beat Chris Nolan.
Yeah, Chris Nolan is way up there for me. Like I think his work is some of my favourite. Like, and the combination with him and Hans Zimmer is for me is close to perfection. But I mean, I love Inception. I've still not seen Dunkirk, which is criminal considering the movie we're talking about. But Inception's huge, and Interstellar I thought was wonderful, and the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight in particular is one of my favourite movies, so he'd be way up there. Yeah. Sergio Leone, if if it's possible, but it's not. So, but no, yeah, I think Christopher Nolan would be way up there.
Yeah.
One of my favourite movies from last year, and I didn't see it coming, was the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay.
His name has completely fallen out of my head, which is ridiculous. But you know who I mean. But yeah, no, his work is ridiculous and beautiful.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, Chris Nolan's a good choice. I used to be able to do a mediocre Joker impression from The Dark Knight because it's one of my favourite. And I can't remember. It's just gone out of my head. So you're quite lucky that I'm not going to be able to do it. But yeah, that's a cracking dark film, and I think that was Heath Ledger's finest moment, sadly. But I think that's drove him to insanity.
Well, you say that. I mean, I thought that, but there's an awful lot of reports and there's an awful lot of people who say that wasn't true because he had the time of his life on the movie.
Oh yeah, he loved it. Yeah,
it's just an accident. But there's this. In fact, you've reminded me. I clocked a documentary on YouTube, which is all about Heath and his time on The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
What he did to kind of get into character and stuff, and he's a huge inspiration to me. Like I remember seeing him first in A Knight's Tale, and that's another one of my favourite movies. And I know people are going to go, "Oh yeah, that's a guilty pleasure," but I don't feel guilty about it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. He really is.
Yeah, he was a great actor, and I think who's they cast as the new Joker now? Yeah, that's him. Yeah. He's
Dave Hammers. I mean, we'll see. I quite like the fact that what they seem to have done is taken Heath's look in one hand and Jack Nicholson's look in the other, and kind of gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we'll see what comes out of it, but he's a sensational actor. So.
Oh, he is. Yeah, definitely. And Jack Nicholson's Joker was just brilliant. I just love that.
Yeah. I mean, they're all very different, aren't they? Like you can't really compare them because they're different eras.
Yeah, and they're completely contrasting as well because, let's say, they took the Joker at different angles. You can't.
Yeah, it's like trying to, in a way, it's like trying to compare the different Bonds as well because they're all from different eras. And I remember my dad saying to me, oh well, because I've never been a massive fan of Roger Moore.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but you've got to understand that the time that Roger Moore was James Bond, people were looking for something a bit softer and a bit just a bit more fun. And then and then on the other hand, 2005 we get Daniel Craig, and people are not wanting their secret agents to be a joke anymore. People are feeling a little bit like they want something a bit more serious. And to Daniel Craig, so every character in movies has like their own place and their own time and their own purpose. So like Jack Nicholson's was awesome.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely comedy. I just saw on TV the other day. They were trying to. I'm sorry, I'm off my throat when they're trying to ban Bond, I think, because they said he's too toxic in this Me Too era. And I was like, oh please, no. I said you've got to take it in context. Obviously, yes, because if you read the books of James Bond, sorry, I'm taking this off topic again. If you read the books of James Bond, he is a misogynist, sadistic, loves killing. That's who the character is. And Sean Connery played him well. I think at the time they were showing the clip of him forcing himself on Honey. That scene when she was like resisting, and that was like pretty much was, to be fair, a scene of sexual assault. But that's in the like you said, it's the different Bonds for the different eras, and I think
there is room for Bond to kind of grow and develop, and become slightly different. I mean, I've kind of taken a view now that James Bond 007 isn't the man's name; it's a code name.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be anybody.
So obviously, of course, he's not the same man because he'd be 80.
Yeah.
Or how Sean Connery is. It makes no sense. So with that, if it's just a code name, then anyone can play James Bond.
Exactly.
So bring it on, let's update it, let's make it a bit fresh and a bit new, and let's see which direction we can take it.
Exactly, which is what Daniel Craig's done. I think he's done. To be fair, he's done a cracking job. I think a few people don't like. I didn't like him at first, but that's because it was change. To be fair,
different. Yeah, very different.
Yeah, I mean, I like George Lazenby personally. I thought he would have been a great one. But
I've got the Blu-rays behind me actually, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the best films. Yeah,
the one line that I always forget is in it is when he turns to the camera and goes, "The last guy didn't have to put up with this," and it's like, "Oh no, oh God, don't break the fourth wall." Okay, but once that bit's over, the rest of the movie's great.
Yeah, breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool.
Yeah, it's like 16 walls.
Yeah. That's not bad Ryan Reynolds impression.
Ryan.
Yeah, no, so yeah, I mean that was just, it's just, I've so many chat movies all night because it really is. It's just, I mean, because you're moving on to Deadpool then, but and I just absolutely adore that movie as well. I just think that guy's just born to be Deadpool.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's
absolutely insane. I've watched his Instagram posts and howl with laughter half the time at the stuff he does. The thing he did with David Beckham on that when the trailer to come up was just hilarious.
Well, I don't know how his mind works, but it's so quick. Like, or his wife's doing a new TV show, and she put up a picture of her in a man's suit, and she's got a naked guy on the kitchen worktop.
Yeah,
I think the tagline is "Now it's my turn." Full stop. And Ryan's commented on it, going, "He seems nice," and that's it. It makes me die every single time he comments on anything. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, he's just got such a quick wit, and it's just absolutely spot on. And at the end, Deadpool 2, finished watching all the end credits and stuff like that. Every time he goes back, I was just crying with laughter.
I still haven't seen that one.
I haven't yet. That's why I've not spoiled it, because I thought I better not do that. Just watch all the credits.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, going back to the code then, which is what you're here for, which obviously I've taken you well on around the houses and around the estates and the city and back to the code. Yeah, I've got actually Brian Patrick O'Malley has sent me 2 questions in for you.
Brian, how you doing, mate? Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, so the friend request I've had since obviously you realised I connect with you.
Yeah.
He'd love to know how you connected with your character in the code. Being a World War II soldier?
That's a good question. I think for me, the thing that I connected with most, and I did ever since I heard this story about the Second World War, is that these were just normal lads. They're not trained killers, they're not trained soldiers, and it was the same for the opposition. They're just boys and men that happened to go to war, and they were told, kill each other, or take this post, or defend that, and that's the thing for me that I latched on to the most. There's a moment in the movie where my character speaks to Chris Morgan, the German downed pilot.
Yeah.
He's got a sweetheart, and he responds with, "Yeah, no, I've got a wife at home." And at that moment in Tommy's head, he's like, "This guy's the same as us. Like, why are we? This is so messed up." This story I mentioned, the fact that Christmas Day, they put down their firearms and they're playing football in no man's land. And the very next day they go back to killing each other. And it's both horrific and heartwarming in the same breath. But that's one of the ways that I kind of tried to connect with Tommy, is the fact that he's me. Like Kev's character is Kev, and Jacob's character they're just guys. And just doing what they had to do to survive and trying to get home. My character's trying to get home to someone specific, and played by the awesome Kerry Brown. And it's just finding something that gives you the drive to keep going. For me, it was going. I took myself off to the Imperial War Museum. We all watched the documentary World War II in colour to try and kind of glean as much as we can. I don't think it counts as official kind of prep, but I know for a fact me and Kev played through COD World War II. That's not official trade. That's not official prep, but it's
it's good.
But no, I think the fact that it all comes from a real place is why we took it so seriously in the first place. And I took myself off on my own to the Imperial War Museum.
Yeah.
Wandered round with no distractions, didn't have any music on or anything, and I just took it all in. But if you're asking me for the one specific thing that I connected with, is the fact that they're all just normal guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally with you on that. As I mentioned before I started recording about the reenacting, I originally started reenacting in World War II US paras, but then I started doing German actually. I changed to US, but I did German, and I had the German uniform on, but it wasn't political, and I'm saying that straight away because of no affiliations, I've got no beliefs in it whatsoever, but I wanted to learn more about those guys because I studied German at uni, got a degree in uni, I lived out in Germany, and I met a guy, an old gentleman who was the next door neighbour to my friend, and he was a German soldier. He'd been in a prison camp. He'd actually been put in a POW camp in Manchester, and said he had the best time of his life there, and he always wanted to go back before he died. And it was listening to his story, and then when I was out there, I was listening to other stories, exactly what you've just said. The majority of these, obviously, there were some who weren't. Some of them, those ones. We leave them to one side. But the majority of the guys, they'd been told to go. If they didn't go, their families would be killed. And so they were fighting, and that's why they went there. And it's the same with Vietnam veterans. I think there's a sense that some of them didn't agree with the war. One actually posted it on Facebook the other day, and he said he never agreed with why they were out there, but he was fighting for his friends, and it was the unit, and that's what I think the code really shows, especially because obviously you've got the two brothers there, and you've got the unit, and the three of you are just there, and the war's going on, you're getting shot at, etc., etc. But you're focused on you three, and it's because you were fighting just for each other to get home to your sweethearts and stuff. And that is, I mean, that's what the code's about. Well, obviously, the code is there, but that's the whole sense of the movie, and that comes across so well in the film. It really does. And you've just explained it perfectly in the fact that that's exactly how you wanted it to be seen.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
No, I mean, it was great. I loved it. So I can't wait to watch it again, to be fair. And I mean, there's times in there as well. We're not going to spoil it for everyone who hasn't seen it. But we have seen there's parts of it, like you say, Chris Mulvin playing in the German, and we see Sweetheart, this, that, and the other. And then you've got Neil with, in there as well. And I did compliment Jacob last time as well, because when we met up, that was the first time I'd seen Jacob. That was it. I was at that place the first time I met him in person. And Morgan James as well. But Jacob, I went up to him and I said that death was actually really moving. It was such a sad. I've just spoiled it now, haven't I? Whoops. Let's just take that back and I'll edit that, right? Okay, so when speaking to Jacob, I said there's a part of that which was so moving in there, and it was just so well done, without spoiling it. That it was just perfect, and it was it had a lump in my throat watching.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob's just really heartwarming. Anyway, he's like, you look at his face and you just kind of go, oh. I love that guy. He's got
one of the most infectious grins going, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Everyone on it was.
Being such a short film as well, because you've got compact more story, and you got the feature film an hour and a half. You get more time to put stuff through. So I think a short film is so much. Well, you are as an actor. I mean, it's the same. You're doing the same job, but you've just got to compact it right down.
Yeah. I mean, the code comes in just under 20 minutes, which is like a nice, decent length for a short, but. We all talked about what we'd do with it if it got turned into a feature and stuff. So, who knows? I mean, I know we're all game. There's lots of ideas being thrown around and stuff, so we'll have to wait and see.
Brilliant as a feacher. You can really see how it could get built up like that as well. There's so much more story and so much more expansion to tell. And like even little flashbacks and stuff that they had with the where the girls came in. And it was just sublime, and to watch and see how everything's sort of pieced together. So it would be lovely to see that and expand it out.
I do love that when you see the three lads to begin with, and they're all we're tired, we're cold, covered in dirt, covered in blood, and then there's that snap, and you flash back to the dance, and they're all quite bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, especially my guy. Like he's got hope in his eyes, and clean shaven, and then you see him out when he starts confronting Chris's character, and I look at myself and I'm like, Christ, have I aged like 20 years? But yeah, no, that's testament to the maker as well. Like Sophie Scott, she did an amazing job on this.
Yeah.
And we did, like that's part of the thing. We spoke about it earlier. The differences between green screen and on location. And the fact is, I think it was -3 on one of the days, and we're running with all that heavy gear on, and it's really that cold, and there's bogs and marshes and stuff, so we're running through this, trying to clamber, and you're out of breath. So there's no real acting required,
You are completely knackered.
We're in it right there, and it was an amazing experience. It really was.
Yeah. No, I can imagine it is on set. I mean, I know how heavy that stuff is. I've marched around Rutland Water, 30 miles of it in full world. Is it? I did all. Oh, right, okay. I did that again. That was a long time ago, but I was in full US paratroopers kit with a steel helmet, 45 pounds of backpack on, Corcoran boots, the lot. Did a full 35 miles for charity.
Good job.
Yeah, I couldn't walk for about 3 days afterwards.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Did it in 8 hours. The whole thing in 8 hours, which was
pretty awesome.
Yeah, we were quite impressed with that. But yeah, no, so that and it is heavy stuff, and especially the British stuff is wool. So it's all right when it's -3.
Was, I mean, we all wore extra layers, obviously, as well, because we were shooting in January. Yeah. But that coat was a godsend, because it goes down to, I think, halfway down your shin, if I remember correctly. Nice, massive collar that you can kind of pop and keep the chill off you and stuff. But without those, we'd have been in a right pickle. But Chris and Jacob spent a lot of the time of that movie on the floor. So credit to them for taking it on the chin and turning out these amazing performances.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would have been freezing on that floor. But yeah, there's great coats, are lovely and warm things. No, and I mean, you alluded back there as well to one of my favourite stories of World War One was the football truce and the sense, the senselessness, which is obviously what the code is showing. It's just like that senselessness of war. But that World War One truce, where they did just start singing Silent Night to each other, and
it's just every time it just brings tears to my eyes, because it's like it is, as you said, it's nonsensical.
Yeah.
And it's so, what they were doing was so heartwarming. The whole Silent Night across no man's land must have been haunting, like a graveyard almost. And then the next day they go back to shooting each other. Like, this is not a computer game that they're playing.
No, yeah, exactly.
GoldenEye or something, and shooting at each other, or COD or whatever. And it's real life. And I think that's what we were all striving to kind of get across on this movie, is that was any semblance that we could get to the horrors that they had to go through. It was an honour and a privilege to be part of. Like, and I just hope we did it even an iota of justice. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, you definitely did. I'm a big war buff myself, so I love war, and that's my kind of era of films as well, as you probably guessed from what I've been chatting about. But yeah, so definitely that's and it did. That's why probably one of the reasons I loved it so much was because it was the realism was in there. That you managed to get all of that in, and you got the fear in there. You've got the adrenaline, the anxiety rushes that go through, and it's just all around really cracking. And it did, the futileness of war. It's just, I think Blackadder did that probably. I think that's probably the best. I mean, obviously you got Saving Private Ryan, the beach scene, which I did in COD and realised I would never have got off the beach because I've played COD World War II and it took days for me to get off the beach. But Blackadder I think is probably the best ever ending. I mean, I cry. I mean, I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it because
without crying. Although talking about Blackadder, when you next see Neil, get him to do his Blackadder impression. Although it's not Blackadder, it's Melchett. He does an amazing. But no, the ending of Blackadder Goes Forth is. I mean,
you can't. There's no words for it, is there? Really, it's just
silence that goes over.
Yeah,
it's tremendous.
It is, and you've had that entire series for just laughter and hilarity. Even in that episode was just laughter and hilarity. I'm the last of the tiddlywinkers of and Darling and stuff, and then that's just that big before they go over. The Captain Blackadder, so what? I'm scared. It's like that was it. Then that's it. My eyes have gone now just thinking about it, just going over, and like you say, and that's just slowing the music down. It's chills. It's it really is. I mean, have you been out to the cemeteries? Obviously, you know, with the Code World War II. Have you been out to Normandy at all?
I've not. I've actually. I went to Berlin immediately after we finished the first part of shooting, and I went to the Jewish War Memorial, and that nobody was dry-eyed in there. Like that's next level.
Yeah.
But I found it quite moving and quite interesting that, you know, the German people wear that part of their history on their sleeve, and they're just like, here it is, here's everything that went on, you know, and it's tremendous. It really is. Like, it's. I mean, I'd love to go to the graves in Normandy as well, so that's definitely on my list.
It's something I went over for. Say when I was reenacting, I think it was the 60th anniversary actually. And I saw some of the best things there, and I saw some of the saddest things. Some of the saddest things was 5 coachloads of British veterans who couldn't get to Omaha, no, sometime, stupid, who couldn't get to Sword, Juno and Gold beaches in their coaches because the passes had been changed, because Tony Blair and George Bush were going. So for those two guys going to we saw their Black Hawks helicopters flying over, but because those two politicians who've got nothing to do with it were going, 5 coachloads of British veterans who most possibly would have been the last time they would have gone, couldn't get to experience on D-Day to visit the memories of their friends. However, it made for a great laugh because we spent the afternoon with them at the Merville Battery, and they were hysterical. Some of the stories that they came out with, we just walking around, and it was, you know, and I would have never have had that experience otherwise.
So, and that's, you know, it sounds like you ended up having quite an experience.
Yeah, it was. And I do highly recommend. I mean, I was in floods of tears at the cemeteries. You just turn around and you just see the sea of white. And 18 years old. Oh, it's crazy. There's some good ghost stories I had there as well.
Yeah, I bet.
I'll tell you one, actually. I know you've got to go through it. I'm keeping you really late. This one is... we were at a campsite. That's where we stay. And it's right where the Battle of the Bocage took place, you know, with all the tank battles. So the farmhouse, you could see the farmhouse, all the buildings around were literally about 2 or 3 foot high, and then old brick, and then it was all newly built, and you could see where they've obviously just been completely destroyed. And so we were just at this little campsite. There's about 20 of us in the little circle in our group, and there's probably about 50 or 60 on the actual campsite in different areas. There was a few times there's a fog bank came in for starters. This is just one, but it was a wall of fog, and it was just a vertical wall like that. But it stopped and it moved. Now, people don't believe when I say when you walk into fog, you know when you're walking into fog because it gets cloudy. This fog moved back when you walked towards it. If you stopped, it stopped, and if you moved backwards, it came forwards again. And it was a pure wall, and it was crystal clear on our side, but it was thick pea soup on that side. And it was just like, right, okay. And after about 10-15 minutes of cacking ourselves, we were just like, right, some of the lads threw cigarettes in, and we just poured a bit of whiskey down and just said, have a drink on us, lads, because we just felt that was the atmosphere. And we went down a country lane as well, which had like 8-foot hedgerows on each side. It was about 5 foot wide, normal little country lane. And it was a straight road, and it bent like that. My friend went round the corner. I was about 30 yards behind him. I trotted around. I could already feel there was a sense of something around you saying, get your heads down, you're not safe. Keep your heads down, you're not safe. And it's hard to explain, but it was a feeling that just came from inside. That was what it said. So obviously I started walking faster. Walked around the corner. My friend was gone. The road carried straight on and went straight again. The hedgerows were too thick for anyone to get through, and he just disappeared. So I was like, that's weird. So I turned around and went back, and coming across the field, I saw him 20 yards away coming across the field as well. And he was asking where I'd gone. And I was like, well, I couldn't find you. I walked after you. You disappeared down the road. And he goes, well, he walked back. He'd come back. The lane was 5 foot wide. He said he'd come backwards. Yeah, I've got the goosebumps here. And he said, but he couldn't find me. And it's like we crossed. And I said, did you feel anything? He goes, yeah, I felt like I was getting pushed out and told to keep my head down. They'll take me to safety. And I was like, that's the feeling I got as well. And it was like, wow. Yeah, and then that night as well, there's little copse of wood. This is the last one, don't worry. There's little copse. I've got to tell them my ghost. These are my ghost stories. These are storyteller. You see, that's there's little ghosts. There's little copse of land, and it was only a little bit of like a few trees and stuff like that in the side, little downside by the camp. I didn't drink at the time, and I wasn't drinking, but we just sitting there around the campfire, and about I'd say probably at 11 o'clock at night, all we heard was "Macht fertig," which is German for "make ready," and then the cocking of a machine gun. You can imagine it was a sphincter loosening moment. But everyone in the camp, we turned around, and I'd say all 90 people in the camp, or whatever they were, had all just gone and looked over to where this piece of land was. And we went out with torches. There was nothing. There's no way anyone could have been there and run. Or anything. So we all went to bed that night, really sort of quite nervous. And the following day we went out and just have an investigate, and ended up uncovering a 6 foot wide, 4 foot deep slit trench, which had been obviously filled in, machine gun nest. At the bottom there were some rounds, empty rounds, and some porcelain plates, or broken bits of porcelain, where it had actually obviously been a machine gun, a little trench. And it was just, that was from the very spot where we'd heard all this noise coming from the machine gun noises and stuff. It was just, yeah, it was an experience I'll never ever forget. Obviously, as you can tell, it's like 12 years ago. And it's stayed with me ever since, because I firmly believe what we heard that night was, and what we experienced was true, because
that's something else.
Yeah, those kind of places, that's why I say you've got to go over there, because there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
The birds don't fly in certain places. Obviously, that's and there's just stillness and eeriness.
I mean, that's the thing. That's why we try so hard to do it justice, and do it with the right amount of respect as well.
Mm.
People's lives, and they, you've got to do it properly.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, you guys did. Bringing all that back to the code again, which is true. That's why. Again, I think that's probably another reason why it's gone down so well, is because it was done so respectfully, so well, and in such a short 20-minute session. It just burst onto our screens and just told the entire story again of what's going on, and we were with every single character, but even with Chris's character, we were with him because we understood the reasons behind him, and there's empathy. I mean, I'm empathetic anyway, but everyone could feel the empathy with every single character. Possibly not one. I won't mention names, but yeah, there's. Well, I don't know. I suppose. But yeah, you got that empathy through there, and that feeling, and because I think that whole era just warms people, and has a, like I say, it's a whole genre of people's memories going back and thinking this is what was like mine. Because I mean, I was thinking this is probably what my granddad went through, and that. And I think that's what a lot of people think. It's like this is the kind of thing that would have happened.
Absolutely.
Cool, and hopefully you can get it into a feature. So come on, Patrick. I know you're watching this. Yeah, fingers crossed. Get right in. Excellent. Brian also asked, did you add your fitness training to play Bruce Wayne in Poison Ivy? And was it good prep for later auditions?
Yeah, it's funny actually. I saw one of the cuts of that the Poison Ivy film the other day, and you can't tell that I worked out for that movie. It's so dark, so it's set in Arkham Asylum, so you can't tell. But I did, and thanks for remembering, Brian. That's very kind. But I've been doing weight training for a while, but I took up boxing with a friend of mine, who did several fights, and that's without a doubt the best workout I think I've ever done. We get up, I think by the time we were doing the movie, we were doing 12 3-minute rounds with 40 seconds break.
Wow.
So yeah, and you just pour with sweat, but it's fantastic cardio and fantastic resistance training as well. So I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, and I certainly enjoyed the endorphins. Yeah, it's led to some interesting comments on my physical stature and my my presence on screen as well has been noticed. So that's really nice.
Yeah, that's great comments to have. Yeah, I'll have to get into that kind of regime. I think that sounds great.
Boxing, mate, I tell you, it's really good.
Yeah, everyone. I was supposed to say to the rest of us, I did the wrestling. That was very same. So, but the boxing would be.
Yeah.
I just don't like being hit. Does anyone?
Hit them first and hit them hard.
Yeah, exactly. I was always taught, because that's why I was going to say in a fight, because my dad always taught me, goes, the first rule, the best fighter of the best fight of the day, because is when you walk away from it.
Yeah, it's the first thing my mate told me, actually. If you're going to fight, it's the first thing you should try and do is run away.
Yeah.
No harm in that.
Exactly.
My self-defense, but not boxing, obviously.
Yeah, self-defense, yeah. Obviously boxing, you don't run away, because you lose the match, yeah.
Run away in that. Self-defense, the best form of defense is running away.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's a great exercise regime. I keep hearing people saying it. It's just one of these things. But yeah, no, it's great. It's great comments to have as well. Obviously, the fact that your presence on screen there. Anyway, I mean, from the code anyway, the presence on screen was. I mean, it was on a 50-foot screen, so the presence on screen was great.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said earlier on, we touched on it earlier on. Seeing yourself on a huge cinema screen like that, and just it's for an actor, I can just imagine again, just the pride. Your parents were there, weren't they?
They were,
yeah, because I met your parents. Yeah, that's right.
They were talking to everybody after.
Yeah. And yeah, so obviously the pride. I can imagine I can imagine the pride of everything. I was proud for all of you guys, just sitting there and watching it, thinking like, I know you guys now. Look at that. It was just the event was fantastic because the films were fantastic. Not just the code. I'll say the other two were great as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're both fantastic. I mean, Chimera probably was my favourite of the three. I think that's got a real special feel to it. I don't know, like the performances in that are sensational.
Yeah, Nadia's
all three movies are great though.
Yeah, definitely. And Kev got to see himself quite a lot on that.
He's in two of the three.
He was, yeah. Well, he's in the third one as well as a voice, wasn't he?
I used to know that.
I didn't know that until they said at the end when we were doing the Q&A. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so that's brilliant. So is there anything else that you've got? I mean, obviously you are...
project-wise?
Yeah, project-wise, something we might be able to see you in.
So I've... in the summer, I was working with a company called Oakhaven Group, called Friend in Need, which is set around, again, three blokes. That's interesting. And they're all banker boys. And the premise of the movie is that my character, Chris, comes up with an idea about how to get them some free time away from the girls, away from the office and stuff. Comes up with this character called Mike. And effectively they use Mike as a way of... It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card. Mike pays our bonuses, we've got to look after him, he's coming out at the end of a broken marriage, we've got to look after him. But I've made him up. And then one day a letter arrives for each of us saying, I don't know how you think you can get away with this. If you don't come clean, I'm going to tell your wives, yours sincerely, Mike. So then it all starts to unravel and it all starts to get, but I think the characters like to think that they are part of the Wolf of Wall Street, and it's not that level, but it kind of gets towards it. But that was a fantastic shoot as well. That was a full, solid 7 days, and that's in fact the writer of Friend in Need was also at the screening at Genesis Cinema as well.
Oh, okay.
And but yeah, great guy to work with and for. And again, another movie where the cast and the crew all came together. We all went out on location, so we kind of get that bonding time after finishing filming as well. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about that one. And obviously, then there's the Poison Ivy movie we spoke about.
Yeah.
And then I have a thriller horror movie that's at the moment starting to kind of put itself together and get some crowdfunding going. Called Surveilled, and that's with Raya Films.
Yeah.
Where I get to play someone who's not altogether nice.
Right. Okay.
It's really good fun because quite often I get to play the at least the anti-hero, if not the hero.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I love that. But with this film, I'm getting to play the baddie, so that's something else entirely. So, and as always, I'm looking for the next thing as well. So yeah, busy. Yeah,
no, it's fantastic. Again, unfortunately, my first ever my second ever, because my first ever was I'll show you the picture. I'll send you the picture. I think you might have seen it. I'll put it on the
Yeah.
thread with Michael Sheard. I was with Michael. Yeah, filmed with Michael Sheard. He was Hitler. That's when I did the German stuff. But the second time, so that was my first time. I was a Nazi soldier. The second time was I was actually in the film 3 years ago, and it's the one I think we discussed the last time. Was I wasn't given the script. I was given the script for what the scene that I was in, because obviously it was a talking role, which was phenomenal for me anyway, because it's my first on-screen role, and I've got a scene when I'm talking, and there's a few bits in there, and that's all I got. And then when I got to set, I found out that I was a pedophile. Didn't have to do anything, thank God, apart from put the towel over and do a few voiceovers, which was a bit sickly, but things happened, and karma happened. I'll just say that, but.
Right.
But yeah, that was really my first real on-screen role with lines. It was great. And
Amazing.
people say it was a great thing to do, and I'm like, yeah, but that's why I want to try and do a bit more acting, so I don't just get remembered as being that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
Cool. Last question I've got for you, Rob, before I start you off is, this is the one which I think you've forgotten about until now.
Yeah.
We did this one when we did the last one, and obviously this is my signature question because of Mike Quinn, who was on the show last year, and this would be, if you could have a Muppet created after you, what kind of Muppet would it be? And you could either have one that's existing, a mix of a couple.
That's changed from the last time I heard that question. That's slightly different.
Is it? Oh, right, okay.
Well, I'm quite a big fan of the whole superhero thing. Marvel, if you're looking for Captain Britain. Although I'm assuming that's really going to get to Henry Cavill now. That was no longer Superman, but never mind. I can dream. Yeah. Maybe I would have a superhero Muppet. Who knows?
Right. Okay. So like Super Grover.
Yeah, Super Grover. Yeah, because I think last time you asked me who was my favourite Muppet, and I said Gonzo. So maybe Super Gonzo.
Well, yeah. Well, Gonzo's got a superhero, hasn't he? Doesn't he? He wears little capes sometimes.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Now I want the impression.
I'm not even sure. The only my abiding memory of the Muppets is Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's awesome!
That's such a good movie.
Yeah,
such a good movie.
They stand the test of time. All of those things. The Christmas Carol, Cheshire Island,
and again, I love the way he breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience. It's a bit scary. We'll see with the finale. And it's fantastic.
It is, yeah, it's brilliant. That's why, because
so go on then. Who would you your Muppet be?
People have asked me this before, and I'm stuck. I really don't know. I think probably Fozzie.
You need to know the answer to that question.
I know, yeah. I think I'd probably be Fozzie Bear, because I always try to make jokes, and I'm always trying to be. I guess most of the time I try to be happy and jolly, and people just look at me and go, "Oh, you said it." And you can do waka waka waka. That's the impression. The Kermit one's a good one. I did the Kermit. I told you, I think I sang, and I recorded it. Why are there so many songs about rainbows?
See, I can picture that.
There's just a little bit of it. It's just
that's a good impression.
It needs working, but it's. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, no. And just before I stop recording, is there anything you'd like to say to people who are watching and listening?
Well, thank you very much for putting in some questions, and thanks very much, Chris, for your time, mate. It's great to have time to chat to you, and thanks for having me back on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. That was absolutely fantastic. I hope you all enjoyed watching or listening to that. This has been Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz with the awesome Rob Dukes, signing out and saying see you next time. Don't forget to tune in and subscribe and rate. Yay! See you later.